Stop playing with him.
The culture. DJ tricks and tips. Interviews. And everything in between. This is the In the Shadow Podcast.
Yes, indeed. It's your boy DJ Raven. Welcome into the In the Shadow Podcast. Make sure to hit me up at DJ Raven 216 if you guys missed out on this week's episode one time. So much to get to. I know everybody was looking out for like the recent episode of what was going on this week. I've been busy dealing with other shit that's been going on in my life. There hasn't been a chance to where like recently that I've been having the chance to, have fun with everybody. I've been dealing with job stuff that's been going on this week recently and what's going on. What else? I'll say like in the last couple of, I'll say some odd weeks, some other stuff has been happening. Nothing unnatural, nothing I would say not out the ordinary, but certain shit that's been going on. It's fall. Everybody else didn't see what's going on. Everybody's been talking about Deion Sanders this whole entire. I'll say this month. Um, New music in the third quarter of what I've also predicted has been happening right about now. Everybody's been releasing their singles. Drake released his recent single with SZA. Oh yeah, that motherfucker got straightened out real quick. Bongo that came out. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that song because recently Joe Budden doesn't like it. I don't like it either. I mean, I know it's gonna be a club banger that everybody believes that will be. I believe it's a slow burner, but songs gotta grow on me. I don't like the song either. We'll talk about that in mostly in this episode. What else I can talk about? Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers' Achilles injury. God, I feel bad for the New York Jets right about now and everybody in New York. What a year! What a year! Weird. What a year that was weird in New York City. Usually, baseball will be their prime time type of sport, but since the Knicks been coming up most recently, and baseball and seem to be football has been taking a back seat this week. So New York Knicks, you got something to hang on. That's all I'm gonna have to say about that. Recently, here in our city, Cleveland, Tristan Thompson got re-signed back for the Cavs. So I don't know what that's going to lead down to, but hopefully a little bit of leadership from the 2016. Hopefully that gets done. A little bit of prideful shit that gets done. Hopefully in that role. Hopefully sooner or more than later. Hopefully that'll toughen up that team a little bit, but you know how Cleveland goes. Browns in 1-0 right about now. We face the mighty Steelers in week 2 in Monday night game. We'll talk about that shortly. A lot of DJ gear that came out most recently this week. The regular stuff that came out from Beat Source Tech. Um The Hercules DJ controller Impulse, I think, is going to be a good midway controller. We'll talk about that later on in the show. No updates on the front of the Serato. No updates from the update from the Serato virtual DJ camp or the in music thing. Everything is off and swinging from lawyer standpoint, so we'll find out more from that standpoint hopefully sooner than rather than later. And personally in my life so far, I've really have been in a place to where like I've been cool with everybody, and I think I just have been avoiding and taking my opportunities to where like for me like I just haven't accepted them because I haven't felt like the right one hasn't come for me. And what I mean by that, we'll talk about that in a second. By me of that, because I think I've been blessed with an opportunity to where like I can get some gear, but I haven't used that gear because I've been in dire straits of myself because I put myself in that position. By the way, there's no ifs ands or buts. When people who try to use you and shit like that, it is what it is. What they try to get, what they try to get. But such is life. And I'm slowly but steadily getting out of my own tire hole right about now. But there's certain things that's been going on in my life that really is I'm trying to put myself into a base to where like now like I'm trying to put myself to a military training to where like it's getting winter time. It's getting to the point to where like no one's not going to start to care. Everybody's going to try to get into a house, and I have to make sure that whatever things I need to take care of is home base right about now. But other than the whole entire thing of what's going on, I think we'll start with music first, and then we'll work our way into everything else. So before the show, we'll talk about what was going on this week. Everybody was surprised that Diddy came out with an album, and the album's actually kind of slick. It's more of like an R&B based performance, but everybody has their good little features and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull that shit up for you guys right about now. Haley Smalls came out with a brand new single, which I actually dig. We'll play that on the back end of the show. because I figured that's going to be the song of the week. Well, that's going to be the single of the week that I need everybody to hear. But my thing was, I wanted to talk about Diddy's album, Nas' album. We got Rod Wave that came out this week. Now, I know I can't premiere all the songs, but I can, I can finagle some shit on this podcast, It won't be up on YouTube just due to the fact that copyright strikes and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure that everything under this podcast be in good format and good faith this week. So you know how shit goes when y'all get to hear something totally new. But alas, let's go ahead and let's talk about all of what happened pretty much this week. So everybody was trying to wonder what happened to the last podcast, right? So I wanted to make sure that in some type of format of what's going on, right? I'll tell you guys of what happening recently for me. So let's break this down from the start of September. So in the middle of, at the end of the month, going into the beginning of the month, I took a day off, wanted to make sure I get myself straightened out. I wanted to spend time with my significant other half, but as y'all all know, she was out doing some things and she was handling grown woman business. So I was trying to keep my attentions and everything all in check in line just to make sure I go home, go to work, stuff like that. But alas, it only told me what I needed to do. Now everybody kind of knows me, from Twitch's chat, from Tiger39's chat, that I always like to chill out. If I do be on the Wild Boy shit, it'd be out of nowhere, you know what I mean? So there's been some stuff that I've been recently doing on the Hotbox that have been very successful. Some videos have been up there for a while, some haven't. But I'll say this. Not everything was going to be perfect and not everything was going to be enlightening. What opened my eyes into the Hotbox most recently is because, and this is just because every set that I've done most recently, and this is just every set that I've done, I've learned that everybody's different. Not everybody's going to like to play the same thing. Like, I like playing house music. It puts me in a place to where I can push myself differently of doing different music if I needed to. But being around other DJs that I've been around so far, some of them intend to push the envelope, others are just there for shits and giggles. It's hard for me to keep the crowd in check. Most recently, on the last Hotbox, I was literally prepared from my laptop, charged it up, getting ready to do a 30-minute set to start to set the tone. But Serato wants to be a bitch, had to go ahead, restart the program, and once I got everything going, that's why I need to get another USB. But in hindsight, reason why I didn't have my USB is because I lost it during the Browns home game. So let me explain why I've done that first. So every year I was at the West 6 tailgate pre-party. I go down there, I post to chill with Tiger every Sunday just because it's shits and giggles. And, it's nothing more fun than kicking it with everybody who you know. And it's always fun to, be around people that you appreciate, have fun with. And it was still all business because basically I was working down there. It was rainy. It was fucking filthy down there. It was all types of shit down there. But I will say this. The thing that threw me off, and this is just me, the thing that threw me off was when, you're dealing with people that's around certain stuff that, that everybody gets to be a part of, when it's brown season, everything gets going and stuff like that. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt. When you're in the middle of the street and it's just raining and then it's just raining lightly to moderately, it ain't like hard. Keep in mind. It's like a good miss where, everybody's kicking it. Everybody was around. But I came prepared with, hoodie, t-shirt, fucking, boots so that way I won't get wet and shit. So, just, I had a feeling that it was going to be messy. So, going down to, West 6, walking up to it, I'd say from my perspective, parking my car down the East Bacon Flex and walking up to West 6, it wasn't that bad because, you had to get up early in the morning. You had to deal with all the drunkies and try to find a car spot, and you got to find it within $10, You're not spending like no $70 just to park at an event just because. Like, what the hell kind of shit is that? But that's neither here nor there, by the way. But when you're kicking it with certain people that you like and you want to be around and shit needs to get in order, you do that for them. West 6 was a fun, good time. A big shout out to Todd Meady from Fox 8 News, by the way. Shout out to all the Puckett Nation guys, the crew, everybody just let me on. If shit gets, if shit gets in the ride, everybody's gonna get drunk as hell and then talk shit before, and at the end of the day, that shit ain't gonna, that's a Browns thing that y'all gonna have to realize in the Midwest in Cleveland, Ohio, during this podcast, by the way. Quote unquote, that I'm going to have to do like a week 3 starter. I'll give you guys an example. Hopefully, if I can get the phone that I need, and hopefully get the streaming package that I need, I should give you guys an example. Hopefully sooner than later. That it is a fun time once the sun comes out, and it's all fun. It's never easy, but it's always fun. But here's the thing. When it comes to a rain mission in this Cleveland, it's a pretty big pain in the ass. So, let me review you guys about week 1. So, I walk up, going up the hill, getting to West 9th Street. It's lightweight misting and stuff like that. So I'm like, alright, it's going to rain. I'm pretty much prepared. I'm pretty much about to get ready to go ahead to either make my decision to either go into Ivy or Barley House. Hell, the third like reserved place was going to be Velvet Dog. But that's neither here nor there. So I meet up with everybody in Puckett Nation, meet up with my homie Tiger Aldonado. We go on the kick it spree. He handling business like he's supposed to. It was his second year of him DJing, so big shouts out to him, by the way, of letting me in and a place to where like I'm glad that I'm still welcome from like last season. That wasn't a whole total ass. I want to make sure that I come with respect. I'll help when I need to be helped with, and it's all shits and giggles, and I try to stay out the way of everybody else doing their business. I just want to make sure that shit gets done. But alas, when it comes to Cleveland weather is no fun. So, everything goes off without a hitch. Everybody's having fun, stuff like that. When the game got started, it started to rain a little bit more. Like, it started to get into a place to where in the intensity of like the whole entire thing was going to be, it's going to be rain out, right? So it was raining moderately. Everybody was watching the game. Him and I started looking at the equipment. The equipment started getting wet. So, you know, he has a lot of equipment that he has that is more expensive than mine, keep in mind. So he wanted to bring it in. So I had to switch on my reserve to where, like, I know my DJ mode to where, like, you know, my whole DJ Rock the House thing kicked in. So he told me to dry off the tables, get everything back in reposition so we can get everything back together if we ran into a rain scenario again. But you know, it's the first game of the season. You know how shit goes, and you know how you gotta unplug shit and make sure you don't get electrocuted on some shit. And we really didn't have game sound at the time right before kickoff either, because we was still dealing with so much shit that was going on around and everybody was just every fucking where. Once we got into like game mode position, we got into like the second quarter, third, well, getting ready to get into halftime, we made the switch up to moving all the DJ stuff from outside into the cabin, right? And the cabin was to a point of where, like, you know, everybody kicks it, you know, it's fun to, you know, you be around stuff where it's all fun and good, but that really. I'll say this, you know, when you unplug all the stuff that you had to unplug, first things first, oh, and it was a pain in the ass, by the way. You had to literally watch how the game was going to go, had to plug and unplug, and had to make sure during the first commercial break, you had to do it within 2 minutes. So within we only had like no more than about maybe less than 90 seconds or 2 minutes on the clock. So basically, once that commercial came on, they blasted the other music, we had to unplug. By the time we unplugged, I straightened out everything to where, like, his laptop wasn't fucked up. We brung his CDJ 3000s back in, and I set them both off to be apart so he can have two of them together so he can work with two. He was always fine with working with one. One was always a challenge, but I've worked with one for so long with this Rain 12 MK2 of mine, and it has worked so much wonders for me. But that's neither here nor there, by the way. But once I reset the two CDJs back in place to get everything, you know, out and mapping and shit like that, we brung the mixer back in play. I turned everything on to switch everything in. I plugged back everything else back in place. So once I linked everything else in place to make sure everything was linked in place, which I gotta buy him another Ethernet cable so he can have a link to it and shit. So he doesn't have to worry about USB link up half the time. But once everything was linked back up in place, and I got everything back going again, and music went right off like without a hitch, like we didn't even missed a beat right before halftime. It was crazy because he is just like, I don't see how you do it all the time, but like we were like, I was like literally like the smallest elf in the fucking booth in that shit, to where like it was all the way fun. We locked everything back in and we never missed a beat right after that. Yeah, and then I just told Tiger like right after that, like, yeah, I'm done right after that. I did my part of my business, so yeah. Right after that, the game was winding down. Pretty much the kicker did a good job. That leads into the Browns that we're going to go into. You know, first game of the season. It was always fun when you go into the season like this, but there was a lot of expectations. Everybody was there, and things didn't go accordingly to plan, but I'll say for the Browns, for their next game, for their Monday night game, I think it's going to be a little bit better. Okay, so watching the game, hanging out with everybody, The Puckin Nation, the Puckin Squad, by the way, totally dope, by the way. When it came to, certain situations of what's going on, it's fun to be around certain people that you watch the game with, but you don't want to get blasted. You gotta walk in with clear-headed mind where, like, alright, I just did, like, a whole entire, like, Saturday night, and I want to be well rested to just do, like, a little recovery time, and then get right back on it. So, watching the game with them, we seen how it was going to be a run game. It was going to be a running game situation anyway, because it was running and shit like that. Seeing that certain players were catching the ball from Deshaun Watson, from Cleveland Browns, I felt like he was doing his job, man. I listened to everybody that was talking shit about all this on the first game all week. Give him the time, trust me. I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's going to get better within time. We just got to give the guy a little bit of movement. I don't say this too much, but often I will say this. We're in for a good season, but it's a long goddamn season away, because it's 17 games, 16 to go. It's not often that where you see your team win and you see the kicker get so much of a great 3 field goals that night, and he got so much of a response that night. That tells you, like, the team's gonna be alright. You dig what I'm saying? And on one hand, and this is just me saying this, on one hand, I'm not here to just say, well, what about the team? I'll say this. The team is going to be in good hands. I'm not here to not necessarily say it's not going to be terrible or worse-handed, none of that stuff. I'll say the team is in the best position of their lives right about now, and there's nothing that we can condone of. We just going to have to watch what's going on, basically. And I'm pretty much sure that the Cleveland Browns are going to be fine. Let's not trip over situations to where, like, it's out of our hands right about now. We're just going to have to let them play to figure out everything else. Now, for me, going back over to me for a second. During the time that I was away, I intended to where I was thinking about the things that I needed to take care of. There was things to where, like, nobody else couldn't really tell me about. My self-care and my individual self. Even though I was taking care of myself during that time, I kind of found things to where, like, yes, I miss my other half. Yes, I wanted to make sure I'd be there for her. Yes, there were things to where, like, I still saw and I still see the things that I feel now. But I'm not going to address it here because it's like, this is just for leisure entertainment. I'm only here to tell you guys the story of what I've been through, where all the shit is. I'm leaving all the private shit, like, away from all y'all, by the way. But the one thing I really wanted to go see, and I went to go see it that day, was Babymetal. Now, if y'all all don't know, I've been recently working on a transitional remix of Babymetal into a house dubstep type of thing. And it started to become really, really raw and fucking different from what I can see from. Hopefully, once I record it and get it onto BeatSource, hopefully that will be the trigger figure of, hopefully that'll be the thing that starts everything else off of. But at last, back to the story. So I went to the Agora, I think 2 weeks ago. Let's call it between a week or 2 weeks ago. I went to go see them, and Babymetal is just nothing more than a fantastic fucking pop metal band, which their genre is called kawaii metal, by the way. Seeing them live speaks volumes. It's like when you get to see your natural DJ, you know, who you get to see all the time. Like, oh, I'm always blessed to be behind Tiger out of Dodo to see him do his thing. And then when I get up on the shits, it's like if he has to go cover and then, you know, stuff like that, I'll be like, all right, cool. Well, I'll still keep a balance of shit because, you know, my mind works differently than him. And being around John Doe is another person that I'm glad to be around, because it's only teaching me to be prepared of shit, you know. And this is just from perspective, you know. I'm not here to just, you know, not shit on nobody. By no means of that nature. Hell no. It's just the nature of the beast when, you know, when shit goes down like this. But back to Babymetal, by the way. So, watching them and watching that whole entire fan base, seeing all the kids, though, that actually listen to this band, and seeing everybody that just rage differently, I felt like I got a taste of them in a different light. Now, they were only debuting a certain amount of new songs from their album, which we got Believe. I'm looking at the playlist, by the way, of what they were playing after at the Agora. It was more old school Babymetal than, you know, all the newer stuff. I wish they played a little bit more newer stuff. But that's neither here or there. Just an opinion. And for Sue Metal, Moda Metal, and Monaco Metal, I just want to make sure I get those three phrases out the way. Between those three, they hold a different standard when it comes to cardio. When it comes to JR, okay, so perfect example. When it comes to the Hot Box, when it comes to Kevin and JR, their cardio is fucking immaculate. Their cardio is just, it matches with Babymetal. So if you see Imperium, that's the type of rhythm, bassline, drum bassline, and that's what type of energy that they carry. So, and it's fun to see that. So, that's the kind of energy that they carry. And from the metal band standpoint, it is so fun to see just everybody around you, just when everybody just bobbing their head, or everybody that's just raging. I wanted to be in the middle of that shit, just be in the middle of that crocking crowd and shit, but something tells me, hell no, I'm gonna get my ass beat. So I stayed in between where, like, I was seeing the edges of Moda Metal and Sue Metal on the right hand side of the Agora. If you've been to the arena, there's like the place where, like, there's a secondary, like, staging area where all the rappers and stuff like used to be at, and there's the outer area where they're smoking at, and then there's the inner area. I'm just predicting this for everybody, that everybody sees this for. So when you see the inner area, the inner area of, like, where all the speakers are, everything's loud as fuck. It's clear. Basically, damn near the band was playing. You know, if you see my pictures on X, by the way, or the photos, I always like certain moments that I like seeing. Like the one where she throws the mask, I did a recording of that. I took pictures of that. BMC, which is one of the more doper things that Sue Metal does. I wish she would have done more of the old school stuff, though. But it's with the balance of the new stuff. But seeing that concert, I didn't get a chance to see Def Clock. I wanted to see Def Clock, but my knees was just not in it because I was just coming off work. My knees were just not in it. Fuck, I wish I was in the seat so I can watch the rest of it, but neither here nor there. But when it comes to Babymetal, that group is legit. And when I say legit, that means they were legit as fuck. My ears cannot comprehend the hard work, the dedication, the blood, sweat, and tears from that type of grouping. I'll say that. Now, back on the football. Now, on top of the show, I usually, I would talk a whole lot of shit. Oh, it's week 1, overreaction Monday, right? That's how I always start out. It's overreaction Monday. Browns were, they playing Jane. Don't worry about Deshaun Watson. We believe that Deshaun Watson is back in true form. We just got to see if he can get the opens that he needs. But it gave us a good, clear idea that whether it's going to be a permitting problem from him. So, just from a quarterback standpoint, whether it's going to be permitting from a background perspective. Chubb's going to lead the whole entire thing. I really, truly believe that everything on defense is going to be evil. So, keep your eye out on the Browns. They're the biggest wild card, I'll say, in the NFL. But alas, we go back to New York. It's a damn shame that the New York Giants got their ass whooped 40-0. But who else doesn't think that Daniel Jones is a real quarterback? But that's neither here nor there on that one. The one person who I wanted to see was Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was feeling away. You know how you get accepted in a certain part of New York. If you get accepted in a certain part of New York and you felt like you got open, oh yeah, on Hard Knocks and all the other shit, oh yeah. So, and plus, it was Monday Night Football. It was 9/11. You know how people are when it's somber, when you don't forget about those Twin Towers and stuff like that. Everybody was somber that day. Everybody was in that gloomy ass mood. But it all landed on football week too. So it was just like, okay, like it's still Monday night though. So when I saw Aaron Rodgers on TV holding that flag, and it's the Jets' first premier home game season, it's their time to have their fun, Everybody had their fun Sunday. It's their time to have theirs for Monday, right? You can feel that energy of like they were back. You can feel that energy that they were back because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wanted to make sure that he wanted to go out on his own accord. And I felt that same energy, but you don't expect an Achilles to just be 4 plays and that breaks you out like that. Alright, so when I was watching the game a little bit Monday night before, I had to go out to the hot box. I was hanging out with everybody, doing my usual at the hot box and stuff like that, but I saw that type of energy that was down here. It was fucking immaculate. And to say that you didn't feel like that was that 9/11 energy. That was that 9/11 energy. You felt like you were welcomed right there, and you felt like you had something on your shoulders. You had something to deal with. You had something to prove that day. But within the first possession, in the first 4 plays, it was fucking terrible. And then on the 4th play, you tore your Achilles and you didn't want to get up. And it's mainly on you because, the game is going faster. Not every quarterback's not built like Brett Favre. Let's make that clear. We're not built like to be Brett Favre. So to have him tore his Achilles that way, God, it felt like a gut punch. It felt like New York was actually cursed. So, naturally, I feel bad for the team. And I just want to make sure I send them my respects to them because it's like, for me. And this is just me. Not everything is going to be all well and good with, every other team and stuff like that. I wanted to make sure that everything that is there. And not everything is going to be all rambunctious and shit. But I'm glad that the team won in an overtime thriller. They got a good, strong wide receiver who caught that ball. That was a moment for him, yeah. And team came back from 16-all to beat them in the touchdown, and it was actually kind of sweet to see that for them. On to more pressing matters. On to music. Really, for me, and this is just me. You don't have to just believe in what I believe, by the way. In music, there usually is supposed to be like a balance of hip hop to where there's like 10 scales now. It became 20. And there's usually a balance in music to where everything balances out. Not everything's balancing out right about now. It's saturated. And what I mean by saturated, I look at saturation like in hip hop, where there's so much ratchet music that I don't mind the ratchet music because I can play it all day. That's nothing. But certain businesses don't like that shit, and then certain hip hop associates or business people believe that women have taken it over, and yes, they have. And that's the new type of branding thing that they're going with. And to me, this is just an opinion. I like my ratchetness just like everything else, but there needs to be a balance of shit to where we believe that SZA, Summer Walker, who the fuck else? Who could I name? There's certain women that know there's way more than just that. Coco Jones is another one. That brings it brings a seduction type of thing, but it brings it to more of there's a balance. And what I mean by that is, maybe if you get an idea of what I mean by that is, how you're getting to your 30s, getting into your 40s, you'd be like, I can't listen to this shit no more. It's I'd rather listen to the old school shit than anything, but it only can get you so far. What I mean by that is, how when it comes to Ice Spice, Sexy Red, fucking Sukana, who can I can name off of? Gloria's another one. It's saturated rap music that I can't stand where now, it has to be fucking pussies and shit like that. Cardi B's like also in that realm too, by the way. But it's how you handle yourself as a person to where like that's what sex sells. Sex sells is a product. Not everything's going to be that type of product that you want. But like anything male or ostracized, there's plain fucking fishes in the sea. But how can you match someone's energy than anything else? Per example, let's just say you watch a certain anime character that sticks out to you. They have an energy that matches what you believe in, or a character of your fiction to be like, look, that's how I want my person to be like. And not everybody's person is not going to match that same type of energy at the end of the day. I've kind of learned off of like TikTok that not everybody matches the same fucking energy that you do. And when I mean by matching a certain energy, you know, we all have our differences in energy that we believe in. I'll say this. When it comes to certain people that I know who I be around, I love when things get to where I notice a person, but I need to feel the person's energy and communication now. Like, if I feel the same nature of this energy of this person that I need to feel and we need to have a conversation, we need to have a conversation. That's just plain and simple. But when it comes to like an anime character that of your figure, let's just say they match an anime character that you see that you want. But it's nothing that you can't have because they don't see you as enough. And then you gotta put yourself through so many trials and tribulations to where like, why am I not enough for people, or why am I not giving me the chance or the shot? It's just that you have to went through the trials and tribulations of what anybody else sees you as. And this is just for me. For me, the person or women that I'm trying to find that it equals to my person is I like my abilities to be sexual. I like to be physically touched. I like to have fun and shit like that when it comes to fun shit, just walking around, just doing shit, and then it's just me, her, and the world is just fucking our oyster and shit like that. Communication is now became a big deal to me because like now, like I speak it within my R&B music so much in my R&B DJ mixes now. It speaks within itself of how I naturally feel. Cause now I can speak it within my hands to where I can scratch it and blend it in one way and talk about how I feel another. And thirdly, when it comes to just this is just my ideal person, by the way. When it comes to physical touch, I like to be, touch, grab, kiss, stuff like that, and I know that I want to be wanted. Communication is more of like a thing to where like, look, if I'm in the slippage and I'm in focus mode right after that, I need someone to be like, hey Derek, like I need you to be on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that other shit. But still recognize me as the queen that you are. That's pretty much not any other woman would ask, but that's just in my world, what I can see in the communication part of it. My thirdly is just have pride in yourself. Just have something that, don't be like no ratchet ass bitch half the time. Like, I understand to where, like if you're gonna be ratchet, like, at least tell me now, so that way I won't have 1 foot half in, and I know you doing some unnecessary shit and half out, and then you ain't gonna be doing anything, and you gonna be ghosting on everything. Have some pride in your goddamn self. Sometimes most men will be looking for all that ratchet ass shit, and then you be looking for the asshole at the end of the day, and then be like, well, why aren't you finding everybody else? Well, I'm not your fucking person, so then I just do this shit for shits and giggles, and then I'll just be looking at that shit like, alright. That's not my person to be. So just be more of a prideful woman about yourself and have some respect for yourself. But that's just me, in my opinion. But back on to this podcast and kicking it with other things that I was dealing with. When it comes to music is always going to be a thing too. I recently read a comment, and shout out by DJ Chuck T. He's one of the gatekeepers that's out in either South Carolina. I was about to get ready to say North. It's South Carolina. I wanted to make sure I rephrase that. He said something on Instagram that, his era where it all like, birth ratchet, how slob on my knob. This is where I was like raised in and shit like that. Like, I don't mind that shit. You dig what I'm saying? Keep this in mind. I don't mind the ratchetness, but when it comes to me being in my late 30s and going into my early 40s, approaching, by the way, there's going to be a time and place to where, like, act your age sometimes. Because not all of us are going to act the same way. And not all of us are going to be the same type of person that we're all going to be part of. So, he made the comment to where, like, how slob on my knob and nah nigga has been, like, a whole type of thing. You know, how the Trina era started. The 3-6 Mafia and the Trina era, the Shauna era started. The beginning of the impervious ratchetness started. I'll say this. When he made the comment about that, I had to hop in the DMs. Well, not even the DMs. It's just more of like in the comment section. And just say, like, if you have an issue with it, blah, 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 this, that, and third. Nah, I didn't have an issue with it. But it got to the point to where, like, for me, this is just for me, it's an act your age type of thing, you dig what I'm saying? Like, we can all play this shit like it ain't even nothing. It's an act your age type of thing. Now, I'm not here or there, I'm just expressing opinion. He tells me go listen to Afrobeats and old school. I can do that, just like everybody else, but I can like all my ratchet shit just like anybody else. I'm not pervious to shit like this. But there's a part of me to where, like, the shit gets old real fast. And I like shit like that, but then it's like, for me, it's like, I've gotten so old of this shit. Like, I'm looking for someone that's like way more base communication and shit like that. I need something that's more like along the lines of like if I'm not enough for somebody, I need to find more uncomfortable places with where I'm working at. And that I need to find a better structure for myself in my brain cells and just keep working harder than what it is. And the act of age thing is like, basically saying like I'm getting into my age of where I'm getting like my parents' age now. It's like, all right, I'm good where I'm at, but I don't feel good where I'm at recently. And I'm taking responsibility for myself to where like I can find other things in my life to where I want to make myself happy. Yes, I want to DJ just like everybody else. Yes, I want to be out front, but if I'm not going to be happy in certain places and things of what's going on, then I'm not going to try and push an energy that I don't need or I don't want. I'm not going to start a battle where I'm already pissed off and I'm already mad. Now I'm going to have a blood vessel that popped in front of my whole entire front lobe of my brain. I'm not going to stress over it. If you don't like me telling the truth, if you lie, then me trying to find my significant other or other things of what's going on in my life, then don't be around me. That's simple. And if you don't like my opinions of how I rate you as an artist of what I listen to at the end of the day, I'm being mindful of the music. Not the way how other music plays itself out too. And some artists just take that seriously, like, oh, I'm gonna block you, you ain't nobody but a hater, blah, 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 blah. If you don't like to express my opinion on the show, then fuck you too. It's not for everybody. And I'm in the same world as that. I have to be better than what other people have realized. You did? But that's neither here nor there. This is the In the Shadow podcast with your dog DJ Raven. Before we go ahead and go into the DJ portion this week, I'll say this. Watching Babymetal, on top of that, getting back to that, it's just a crazy thing to see. So if you're out there, please go see that. Because seeing it and watching it on YouTube is different by hearing it and knowing it by all surprises. I would play you guys the little remix this week, but due to the fact that I don't have it up on my laptop this week, we'll save that for next week of what I'm working on when it comes to me recording and stuff like that. We'll talk about the recording portion probably, hopefully, in these next couple of pods sooner than later. Definitely sooner than later. Really for me, I've been mostly recently been on a hunt of getting new DJ gear. And recently, reason I've been on a hunt is just because I love my Pioneer DJ S9, but it's getting to the point to where now it's starting to be old technology. So basically, I need to update my MacBook Pro, and I need to get it up in the 23s, and I need to get my Pioneer DJ S9 to either a 7 or 11 that has the USBs in the back so I can keep my Rain 12 MK2. But I'm also adding a new addition, hopefully. The technique that I have, I'm going to keep this the old school. I'm going to keep it like in a box somewhere, but I'm going to get either a CDJ now. Because like working off of sticks now, USB sticks, I've gotten a hook to them and it's been more fun. Now, here's the problem that everybody says. It's more recommended that you use Rekordbox to do all your importing and exporting. But recently, I've been doing most of my exporting on Virtual DJ, and a lot of things haven't popped up because of that. And it's just because we have the old technology there. Like I've been over a situation over at Bird's house. If y'all don't know, my man Brian Blackberry, I suggest y'all go ahead and give him a shout out and a love for him. When it comes to a certain situation over at Birdhouse. Like, I think I had the capabilities to go ahead and DJ on virtual DJ with all the house music, but I didn't have all the technology that I have or that I needed to do everything of what needed to be done that week. So I was a little bit more surprised at the fact that most of the older technology doesn't work with the sticks and stuff like that. But hey, you live and you learn. You'll find out other shit later. Right? Right. Reason why I say you go hang out with Blackbird, because it's more house music. It's more of a vibe. It's more of like vibe music, technological music, all this other stuff. It's always fun to do. Keep try to keep it as much house as you can, more techno stuff like that. That's how he runs his camp over there. And I'm glad that he gave me the opportunity, but I was a little bit upset that now that I have to go run out to go make some more stuff happen, and I'm gonna go get my USB back in order. So hopefully next Monday, I'm working on an R&B set for you guys for the hot box that y'all can see on YouTube. I'm working on this set probably while I'm going to take a break, but ever since that whole entire Diddy album that we're going to talk all that new music forward to sooner than later, is going to be more complimentary to the podcast this week than it is the YouTube this week. But yeah, I've been on, hopefully now back on a DJ journey to where if I can get the CDJ that I need that's going to be physically workable, then I'm going to be, working on sticks for a while. And I think that's where I'm going to be led up to. Now, everybody says, why work on virtual DJ? Well, because 2 reasons. Rekordbox is very, very complicated for me. And it took me a long while to get the sticks down fucking perfectly on Rekordbox when it was on 5. So it took me a while to really fix the shit. But when I got on virtual DJ, it got easier. So, matter of fact, I'll give you an example. And here's my example of why it's a lot easier. Alright, so as I close out of my Serato DJ program right quick, I'm going to pull up Virtual DJ right quick. Now, for those that are pretty much Virtual DJ aficionados that everybody still uses, by the way, if you don't learn how to use a certain CDJ, push out and stuff like that, I'll show you the example right now. As I activate it right about now, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'm going to let you guys hear my voice and let it carry, and I'm going to give you an example. So now we're in Virtual DJ. I have it set up to where it's still in playlist mode. So if you go down to the playlisting there, if you have all your playlistings app, because I have mine color coded to each year, and then I have my reds to where my red playlist files to where I export them. If you plug your USB in first and let it scan first, Virtual DJ has imported also the Serato DJ playlisting that's on there. What they don't tell you is how. So when it comes to Rekordbox is already automatically in there. So make sure to reformat your USB twice. What I mean by reformat it twice. Make sure it's all clear. And then once you reactivate it in Virtual DJ, there's a CDJ export that's on there. And I'll show you guys. when you go into your playlist and once you have everything that's set in a way to where like your BPM, your keys, all that other shit, all in mind. If you right click the playlist, it'll say load, stylist, rename, delete the folder, or export. You want to choose the export one. You'll have your files and your subfolder files and stuff like that. There's a little box that says it. Your playlist only will copy all the files in the same location. Make sure to have that located in the same files. Now, in your format, in your text, keep your files, and this is just me, keep your files in the HTML file so you can read all your documents correctly. Now, here's the difficult part on this one. Now, when you're exporting most of your stuff out, your files will read pretty much of your destination, basically. Once you plug in your USB and you rename it, blah, and then of this, that, and the third, there's another thing that I need y'all guys to read when it comes to playlisting. Once you plug in your USB first, plug your USB in to where it wants to hear everything reads and get everything formatted and gets it into the system. Make sure you also right click the other USB file that you have on there that's plugged in to rearrange all your stuff, like your artist, your BPM, your key, all that stuff comes into play before you go into CDJ, before you export all your files into a CDJ mode. You'll see that within the USB. You'll see that within the USB mode in Virtual DJ, by the way, and when it's on the 23, by the way. Now, when you get to the point to where like it gets into CDJ mode, there's three of them. There's CDJ 400, there's CDJ 2000, and there's the CDJ 2000 Nexus. Now, I've got to the point to where like when I was over at Bird's house, it only can read the CDJ 2000s of the capability. I had to go to the highest one for the Nexus just because it's like, all right, that's pretty much where everybody's at, and not everybody is going to connect to the same thing as the CDJ 3000, which pretty much is going to be, if you hook it up to Rekordbox, that's what it's all going to be, where it's going to be all in one file, by the way. And your CD, and from what I've based it on, by the way, this is just DJ talk, by the way. If I base this on me clicking the CDJ 2000 on the Nexus, by the way, when you plug your USB in, the 3000s will read all the stuff that you've done on the Virtual DJ side the same way like Rekordbox have done on the same side. You can also activate it and have it read from the Pioneer side as well. So also keep in mind that you can make another file within that USB file within that whole entire thing of Rekordbox. That's another tip, by the way, that I've learned, that you can do both in one. So just a little bit of familiarity for you guys that when it comes to like virtual DJing and stuff like that, that's like a huge deal. Because for real, this is just a tip from me to you guys. It's not often that you run into a situation where like you're going to have to use sticks anyway. And that's what it leads down to. Mostly sticks. And people don't want to play by sticks. I'd rather play by laptop anyway. Most of my shit's on there. And I'm going to make the switch over to get a brand new hard drive. And once I get a hard drive in place, oh fuck you, I'm going to export all the shit that I've made, all the hip hop music that I'm going to deal with. I think not this week, but next week, I'm gonna get a hard drive. I'm gonna export all the shit that I've got working. I'm gonna put all the hip hop and rap shit on that particular drive to see how that works. It's gonna take 2 days, but we'll see how that goes. But on to more pressing matters, and I think we've been talking about music for a while, so I think we should go ahead and let's talk about Diddy's new album. We'll talk about Haley Small's new single, and we'll talk about Nas on the back end of this whole entire thing. So let's go ahead and let's get this shit cracking with Diddy. Now, Diddy ain't come out with an album in a long while. His whole record label of Love that came out, last year with leading brand new artist Jazzy. That thing, and with Diddy Dirty Money trying to implement that in there too. I think I listened to the album forward through backwards. Basically, it's a 3. It's a solid 3. Without all the features, it's a solid 3. Not perfect, not average. Just my opinion, solid 3. And if him just, getting back in the swing of shit, like everybody hated the shiny suit shit that he's been doing, but for his craft, when it comes to R&B and his swag, it all hits different. Drums hit different. Aside of storytelling hits different, everything hits different. And for this album, before I play the song, I get to actually play the song I like to play. I was listening to it for quite a long while, and it's actually one of the more doper albums. And Justin Bieber, Biebs don't get enough credit, man. Like, he has more of an R&B soulful side that certain pop artists don't always do. Ariana Grande's one of them too. She can dabble when she wants to, and if she really want to put her foot in it, she can actually make a real good R&B album if she really puts her foot in it. That's how I believe that Ariana Grande can. If she really wants to make an R&B album, she can really put her foot in it and really can make a tell a story out of it. But when it comes to the Biebs, you heard something totally different from him, and it's like it's there. You can't tell nothing to me about that shit. So we're gonna play Moments first, and then we'll go ahead and we'll readjust from there. This is Moments from Justin Bieber from Diddy's new album called The Love Album, Off the Grid. This is the Indie Shoutout Podcast with your dog DJ Raven. Let's get into it.
I've been patient, patiently waiting. I've been faking for a long time, and now I want you. Ooh, I want you. Oh. Patiently waiting, I've been faking for a long time. Now I want you. Ooh, I want you. Oh, you got me all of my feelings crazy, taking it slow. I need you running to my arms. Let's go. Jealous for you, but I just can't help it. every second. Yeah. You and me together, what a blessing. Please just tell me that you get the message. No, I don't wanna. You and me, oh, ecstasy, ecstasy, oh.
That was my homie Justin Bieber with Moments on the In the Shadow podcast. Dude, told you. It's something with that particular moment and the shit that I have to deal with that I get to listen to. That is fucking awesome. And keep in mind that it's a good feel dance song. You know how you want to just, you want to rock with your other half, but then it's not close to where like y'all dancing back and forth. It's more of like y'all hugged up just enough to where like this is how I want to feel and shit like that, and I don't want to let that moment go. That's how that shit works out, and it's actually pretty dope to watch it and listen to that. Now, for the next one actually caught me off guard. I like when I listen to certain shit. Now, the throwback one, I'll say back last. I'll say the throwback one last. The throwback one, when it comes to that one, is totally different. So, I'll say that track is just for everybody else to listen to. I'll just say it like that. When it comes to certain artists that work with different shit, everybody speaks their language differently. Sway Lee speaks his language differently in a male perspective. When it comes to Jacquees, what we're going to get ready to play in a second, his delivery, it has you in that hood state of mind, but then it's like, you know, you're in the car, you know, you want to talk shit to your significant other this way, without the whole thug mentality of it. That's how you want to talk it. Her. Jesus Christ, that last one's still good. Jasmine Sullivan, yeah, that's another one too. Yeah, they all speak in different languages in the R&B side that just, you know, you can transfuse the shit. So that's why Diddy's album is so, it's imperfectious and it's so different. It's so refreshing to hear everybody vibing in a collaboration type of way. That's why I always loved about it. When it comes to this particular song, though, I think this song is going to be very dope, very interesting, and very lightning. This new single is called Pick Up, featuring Diddy, Jacquees, and Fabulous. We're going to listen to that right now. This is the In the Shadow podcast with your dog DJ Raven. Let's ride.
I'ma give you what you need, babe. If you let me take the lead, baby. Got that something that you're missing. Yeah, I'ma treat you right. You can take my phone anytime of the day, cause we good, no lie. And them girls don't mean nothing, only fuck with the vibes. You the one I want, you the one I like. Watch me show you what I mean. Blow your mind if I make you my queen. She say she ain't about it, but she can be. Give it to her how she like, though. Come and plan, babe. Bet you never fall in for my time. And I bet the mother guys ain't feeling right. Bring you up just to take you down, yeah. You fucking it up, they know what's up. Yeah. I'ma treat you right. You can take my phone and
talk to him. Yeah, I got something to talk to him. Hey, let me put you where you comfortable forever, not a month or two. There's no more getting something new if they ain't getting enough for you. House came with a chef, red snapper and come for you. Right. Everybody eats, long table like a conference room. Hold my hand, I lead the way. Bring you if you follow me. If you don't wanna see us shine, think you should unfollow me. If they ain't 100, then be single as a dollar be. If I did some wrong, please gon' sing up my apology.
That was my homie, Fabulous, featuring Jacquees, featuring that man Diddy with Pickup, with that new album called The Love Album, Off the Grid. Totally different. Glad to hear Fabo. He been quiet for a good minute. So it's good to hear, certain artists that still want to go ahead and put in for the love for the city of New York. And like I said, it sounds different. It sounds tough. But definitely sounds tough. Like I said, my opinion is 3 out of 5. Not too off the Richter scale. Not too, in depth of where I say, I actually like it and stuff like that. There's certain songs I actually like. So definitely 3 out of 5. On to my single of the week. Haley Smalls out in Canada always brings the heat whenever it is necessary. And when it comes to listening to that, it's like totally different. I felt like this one was more of like, it hits differently. It vibes differently. So all the stuff that y'all about to get ready to listen to is just totally different. So this is Disconnect, one of her new singles featuring Namika. If I'm mispronouncing your name, by the way, wrong as fuck, please put it in the comments, by the way. My homegirl Haley Smalls. This is called Disconnect on the In the Shadow podcast. Let's get into it. That was my homegirl Haley Smalls featuring Namika with Disconnect right here on the In the Shadow podcast. It's totally like more of an R&B set though. Very fucking soulful between both of them. I like the fucking cover too. It just speaks upon all that other shit. It just speaks upon Hutch and this all the other shit, like whatever, how you walk away on shit like that. The Nas one. Let's go ahead and let's get into the Nas one though, right quick. Before we go ahead and we hop the hell out of here because I got some shit to do. Nas Magic 3. Apparently the last collaboration with Hit Boy and everything else of Queensbridge and shit like that. Really, it's pretty much just himself. Except for, there's Lil Wayne on the joint right about now. So there's a lot of shit that I can really comprehend. But for me, it's not for everybody. I'll say that. This album's not for everybody. I think it's all a grown man status. I think this album. I think the first three, you make a compilation of the CD. You know how you make compilations and shit like that. I think that's the last good compilation that you can see off of. And I think the one that actually stuck out to me, and this is just me, I think, because there's a lot of stars on here, Fever that starts the whole entire thing. TSK that starts out another one. Superhero Status. Yeah, I mean, those are the first three that stick out to me. But I think the one that I was listening to that I kept having it on repeat was Sitting in My Thoughts and Japanese Soul Bar. So we're going to play Sitting in My Thoughts first. And we're going to base it off of there and see how y'all feel about Japanese Soul Bar. This is the In the Shadow podcast with your dog, DJ Raven. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it.
To OGs and young bosses, we bounce back when we take losses.
Hey, hit. How we gonna lose with shit like this, my nigga?
I once too was a young boy, wildin' on tour, running with some of the wildest youngers out of New York. Met some more in Baton Rouge, used to wow how they talk. 19, my girl was pregnant, had to sit with my thoughts. Sit with my thoughts. I had to sit with my thoughts. My family was my motivation, focus on the elevation. I'm attracted, not chasing. We ain't scared of niggas, we rare than niggas. Rope chain hang, diamonds independent. I am independent, she wrote a comment, they pinned it. It got to my attention, we could go viral in minutes. Aspire to win it, I'm spiraling in it. Flip sides of the coin, that's life in the business. Flip publishing, it goes to the highest of bidders. I got them bitter, lows of a winner. That should come with being great, there's a lot on my plate. Never broke again, I'm blacker than the NBA. ESPN couldn't cover all of my highlights. Look at this money machine, I love what it sound like. And Nipsey would've loved that I'm working with Hit. He might've took me to 6-0 and turned me a crip. It's all money in. XO in my cup, I'm sitting with my thoughts again. Yeah. To OGs and young bosses, we bounce back when we take losses. I pray we all get prayed for. I pray we all can make more. Whole time writing this, I'm typing some people back who need me to get them in places. Type of shit is that? I'm a concierge for most people I know. I'm in the studio with Hit, cash out for my folks. I love it. That shit come with being great, there's a lot on my plate. I would give it all away for a smile on their face. Shout out to rappers who inspired me in my beginnings, who I inspired right back when they pen was dwindling.
Yo, that was my homie Nas with Sitting With My Thoughts on the In the Shadow podcast. Totally, like I said, it's a different side of Nas that we've been hearing for a good minute now. I'm glad that that side is still coming out and, hitting in ways that no one else can. Last song of the day. We'll get into Rod Wave next week because I want to try to hear that one. I haven't had a chance to get into it. But Japanese Soul Bar is the one I wanted to make sure that y'all at least get the chance to hear that one. So let's go ahead. Let's get into that one. This is the In the Shadow podcast with your dog, DJ Raven. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it.
Japan, action. Do you love hip-hop, New York?
Cigars in the Japanese soul bar. Drinking scotch till daybreak. KD3 had go bars. These vibranium can't break. That's the one. Do music for fun. Give deals to artists. Pull up to the office. Yeah, I'm from the project, so quadruple in my youthful. So I can boost you. Unlimited game, I can shoot you. I own my masters now, but the reversions is crucial. I used to wonder, was they ever jerking the Juice Crew? Wanted dead or alive, should have been platinum 5 times. A young Russell, Rick Rubin, and Fly Ty ran the music biz. Andre Harrell saw the future is hip hop. The Hermitage, hotel balcony, Louis flip flops. Meetings in the mezzanine with production companies talking about me directing things. Said I needed CAA, instead I went to ICM. Said without an agency, all my chances might be slim. My humble beginnings ain't want my hunger diminish. I burn out in this game before I would run into millions. See, that's a major fumble, and I'm made for the jungles. So I called jungle, I said put away the bundles. Let's go. Truly, they gon' cry when they see this movie. No dry eyes in the theater, the viewers are living through me. Been thinking about who could play me in Tokyo, Paradise, or Bailey's. Karaoke, I'm participating, singing Barry White, that is. On a good night like this, how do I write like this? First of all, you gotta have a good life like this. A real life like this.
That was Japanese Soul Bar right here on the Internet Shoutout Podcast. Totally a dope song, by the way. I'm sure y'all go ahead and listen to that, though. Definitely Nas was pretty much, he always solid for shit like this. Definitely the same thing. I haven't listened to the album fully, so definitely keep your eyes on that. No rating for that one for this week. I'll let you guys know the rating on next pod. But I figured that's the most important thing that I wanted to make sure I get out my way, get out of my system this week. So, before I get out of here, I wanted to make sure I leave off with one crazy ass thought. Certain stuff is just not for everybody. And certain things are just not for everybody. I will say this. I've gotten to the point to where now, if you're going to judge me for who the fuck I am, learn your fucking place in life. If you don't want to be with me, then don't be with me for certain reasons of, I'll say, enrichment, basically. Don't have me involved in shit to where, like, if I'm not going to prosper off the shit, you dig what I'm saying? And I can't use that whole entire momentum of other things that are going on, and I can't use that to my advantage of, like, this pod and this whole entire thing of what's going on. You dig what I'm saying? Because I want my directive of people to just know that when you come here, this is supposed to be a comfort level of shit talking, information, and based on everything else of what's going on. You dig what I'm saying? And yes, I am trying to find another job because I'm unhappy at the place I'm working at right now. But the problem is, I do have opportunities that's knocking at my door right about now. And I have opened the door to look around. And nothing has really sparked me to where, like, to jump yet. Because either if the pay is not profitable, I'm not jumping. I need to be more in uncomfortable situations to where, like, it gets to the point for me to work even harder to get the things that I want. That's plain and simple. And I'm done with all the nonsense from people that show me enough of their cars to be like, why should I be with your ass, you know? But that's neither here nor there, or for you guys to know. That's just between you and us. That is it for the End of Shadow Podcast. Make sure to hit me up at DJ Raven 216 on Instagram, X, fucking Mixcloud. For people that was trying to tune in for my I-90 Mixcloud, by the way, I was out doing something this week and I wasn't feeling all that good. By the time I made it to the house, I wasn't going to be able to be on time. So I-90 Mix is being pushed tonight around, I'll say 11 p.m. tonight. 11 p.m. tonight. Mark that down. That I will be playing around that time. On Twitch and of course on Mixcloud. By the way, no Kick this week because of the fact that I want to make sure I keep my Kick profile intact with all the podcasting. I'll try to see if I can get this up on YouTube, by the way, so I can have all my listeners listen to everything what's going on. So all listings will be available by of this part of what y'all listen to this week. So make sure to go ahead and check that out at DJ Raven 216 as well. All stories will be on my page as well. So be sure to be looking out for that. Share the page, share the love. Make sure to check out all the podcasting, of course, on iTunes, Spotify, Google podcasting, iHeartMedia podcasting. So you can go ahead and check out all of those media podcastings from there. And that's it for me, you guys. In the meantime, between time, I'm the hell out of here. And I got to go ahead and enjoy my rest of my Saturday and go back to hustling like I always usually do. But make sure to hit me up at DJ Raven 216. More guests are going to be arriving soon. I will let you know in further details within the coming months. Talk to you guys later. I'm out of here. Peace.